Welcome, everybody. My name's Jeff St. Laurent, and this is the Tuesday live show coming at you each and every week. And today's topic is curing the procrastination blues. Because in a business, there are days, there are moments, there are hours where you do not want to do the work that you want to do or need to do, but you've got to do it anyways. And this is going to talk a little bit about that because it's a real thing. It happens to me. It happens to everybody. No one is immune from this. And we've got to figure out a way to continue on with our business, because if we don't, you're not going to have a business. With that being said, before I jump into that topic, I record all of my Tuesday live shows. I put them on my university at sellingcoaching.com. I help coaches transition to a full-time business, helping you set up the structures and the systems to get yourself out there with your marketing so you know what you're doing, you feel comfortable what you're doing with it, and understand and teach you a process that you can take your potential clients through so you can actually get paid and do this full-time. If you want to start off on my website, sellingcoaching.com, right off in the homepage, if you enter your name and email, you get not only a free resource, which is a great audio resource called Launching Your Coaching Business, the First 3 Vital Steps, but it also puts you into my email community where you get some great information on a weekly basis, not only with what I'm doing with different programs and offerings, but also even more importantly, things and strategies that are going to allow you to keep moving forward and stay consistent. This is all about consistency, right? So when we talk about the topic today in terms of the procrastination blues, this kind of stems from yesterday. I do my weekly email on Mondays. And I was tired. I was actually just physically tired. I didn't sleep all the night before. And I also was uninspired, and I didn't know what I was going to write or what I wanted to say to my audience. And I was just sitting in front of my computer staring at the screen, and I didn't really know what to do. And I knew it would come to me. I've done it literally thousands of times before, but it was just one of those nights. And my family's playing in the other room, the bedroom down the hallway from my office. And I'm just like, so I found that as a nice, easy distraction. So I kind of walked down there. We're hanging in there, playing with the dogs. And then things settle down, and I snuggle with one of my little puppies. And I'm like lying there, and I'm like, I could fall asleep. And as I was sitting there, I was thinking about the topic because I had to write my email. And if you notice, I used the word had to write my email. And I did. I had to write my email. It's like discipline. It's like clockwork. You've got to do it no matter what. Could I have said, you know what, I'm uninspired right now, I'll write it tomorrow? Of course I could have. I also have found over the years, and you can correct me if this is true for you or not, tomorrow never comes. I'll do this tomorrow. I'll work out tomorrow. I'll clean this up tomorrow. Next thing you know, like my son, I'll clean my room up tomorrow. It never comes. It never gets done. And so therefore I realized that it's never about tomorrow. It's about right now. That's one of the disciplines I'll share with you, that it can't get done, and it won't get done the next day or the next hour. It's just know your time, know when things are supposed to get done, and that's when they're supposed to get done. Whether you are excited about it and are energetic about it, or you just aren't at all, it doesn't matter. And so I'm lying on the bed, I'm thinking about, what am I going to write? And then I realize, I'm like, geez, you know what? My clients tell me all the time, sometimes it's so hard to write emails or to do things that they need or want to do in their business. And all of a sudden I felt like this energy rushed through me, and I shot back into my office and I started writing the email. And that led to the topic for today, which is about, curing those procrastination blues. The reality of this business is, and a lot of people get into coaching because a lot of coaches start coaching because they're passionate about it. They want to help people. They've had a great experience. They want to share that with other people. They want to get paid well to do it. They want to work from the comfort of their own home. They want to be their own boss, all the benefits of being an entrepreneur, if you will. And those are all fantastic elements of what we do and this business. And with that being said, I always like to, when I'm working with my clients, I like to kind of say, hey, listen, yes, I want you to enjoy this, and I want this to be fun. And yeah, you can do it on your own time, et cetera. And you can be your own boss. But you've got to have some discipline set in place, because you know what, at the end of the day, even though it's a passion-based business, it's not always going to be fun. You're not always going to want to do what you have to do or should be doing. And because you're your own boss, I'll say it like this. I'll be more direct, but I'm not really telling you what you can and can't do, obviously. But I'll say it like this. You don't have the right. You don't have the, well, you do have the right, but I'm saying it more strongly here. You don't have the right to just say, like, I don't feel like doing this today. You can, right? Like I said, you do have the right, but I want you to start to think of, like, listen, I don't have the right to do this. Like if you're at a job, do you have the right to just leave? Well, technically, yeah, all right, but it's going to be a sick day or a personal day, or at some point you're not going to get paid for it. Here, obviously, in a business, it's very different than a job. In a job, you get paid for the hours you put in. Sometimes if you're on salary, it's not hourly based necessarily, but you get the point. You show up, you get paid. You don't show up, you don't get paid, for the most part. Here, it's not about showing up. We don't get paid for time. We get paid for creating results. So it doesn't matter how little or much you spend in your office. It's the quality of the efforts that you put in, and it's the consistency of that over time. So it's not about long hours in our office. So what I'm trying to get across, where I say you don't have the right, is I want you to get in that mindset of like, listen, you can't just blow things off. You can't just postpone things. Like that email. It was getting towards the end of my day. And what was it? Yesterday was Monday. What did I have going on? Oh, at 4 o'clock, sorry, at 4:15, I needed to take my son to basketball practice. I needed to head up to another city because I had some stuff with my rental properties that are going on. I had to take care of that. Then I had to come back, pick my son up, and then it was dinner time and stuff like that. And it was the end of my business hours. 4:15 was the end of my business hours. And this was happening. I'm writing this email. It's about 3:30, 3:45. And so I'm coming down to the wire of I got to get this email done. Could I have written it today? Of course I could have written it today, but then I had to get the show out and I had to do all that stuff. And so I set boundaries for myself, but it's got to get done. And I've done it enough where I know if I just give myself a little space, if I just chill for a little bit, if you notice, when I was chilling with my dogs and my family, I wasn't just like chilling and ignoring the fact that I had to write an email. I'm like sitting there thinking, I'm like, what's my email about? What's my email about? Because I just knew if I changed my environment, I changed something, what I was doing, a topic would come to me. And it did. And here I am now. And so part of my message here is that don't give yourself the right to just postpone things or not do things. You have a duty and an obligation. This is the way I want you to start to see your business. You have a duty and an obligation to show up and do the work. And if you show up and it's time to do the work and you're not there mentally, physically, emotionally, whatever, it doesn't mean you can't take a break. It doesn't mean you can't, do something different, but do something different so that you'll get yourself in the space of doing the work that you need to do. That's my message, right? So if you're going to take a moment or an hour or whatever, do that other thing with the intention of getting yourself in the space to do the work that you need to do. That's the important part about this. Because if we just keep pushing things off and postponing things, I've done it myself. I've worked with too many clients and I've worked with too many people and I've talked to too many people where it's just like, oh, I'll do it tomorrow, and then they don't get around to it, or they postpone things, or I've got to do it when my energy's up and things like that. And I respect that 100%. Writing or doing something, creating something, making a call, marketing, whatever it is, it's a lot easier and more fun when you have the appropriate energy and emotion for it. My message here today is it's not required. It's not required. It's not required for you to be awesome and excited and engaged. It's not. Because otherwise, that means we always have to be at a certain level or pass a certain threshold in order to do the work. And the reality is we're human beings, and hopefully you resonate, higher the majority of the time where you're in that space. However, when you're not, I don't want you to get in the habit of giving yourself permission to just push it aside. There are times where you'll need to. With all that being said, absolutely, there are things that we go through in life with things that we go through, that we're going through because of other people or other situations, where we just aren't in that space. And those are the times where you take a day off, you take the afternoon off, you postpone something to the next day, or you're not going to do it this week, you're going to resume next week type of thing. And it could be a vacation for one, all right? Or it could just be, geez, someone just died in your family, or like you're taking time to be with things like that. Next week is my mom's 80th birthday. My brother and I are flying down there to surprise her for her 80th birthday, so I push some things off. I postpone things for that week because that's part of life. But with that being said, if I'm doing that all the time, then I don't have a business. And that's where you've got to really be honest with yourself how much leeway you can give yourself in these things. So I was a little aggressive today in saying, and I'm doing that for effect by saying, you don't have the right, you've got a duty, you've got an obligation to this business. And that's where you're going to think about what do I want to create in this business? Anyone that's accomplished anything great in life, you might look back at it and be like, oh man, if I know what I know now, right? And you can finish the sentence. I often look back at what I've done in my businesses and the things, and maybe I'm 46. It's not like I'm old or anything like that. I don't feel old or anything like that. But sometimes I look back at some of the things that I did. I'm like, man, I don't have the energy for sometimes that anymore. Or I look back and I'm like, oh geez, if I knew what I knew now, would I have done this in the first place? And some days I answer absolutely unequivocally yes, and some days I'm like, oh my God, hell no. I wouldn't change a thing, obviously. But with that being said, you've got to start to understand where you are now, where you want to go, and recognize that takes work, that takes time, that takes practice, improving yourself, consistency. It's a discipline. You show up. It's most of your energy, most of your time. That's the reality of this. It's most of your energy, most of your time. And that doesn't mean if you're listening to this and watching this that, oh, well, Jeff, I got a full-time job and I got all this other stuff going on and I'm training for, a marathon and, I'm a parent and I'm this and I like to work out. It doesn't mean you're going to sacrifice and give all those things up. It just means that whatever time you do have dedicated towards your business, you've got to be consistent in putting that stuff in. And then as it starts to expand a little bit more, find the places where you can start to expand the time and energy you put in. And it's a progression, but there's got to be a commitment to it. And I want you to have a strong discipline for it. This has got to be your everything when you're doing it. And like I like to say is, when you're wearing this hat, when you're wearing your business hat, when you've got your business hours, like wear that and that hat only. Don't be a parent. Don't be anything else. Be here. And I often say to my clients, this business is done in short bursts of focused time and energy, not 8 hours, 8 hour long day. If you're doing your marketing, it's bursts of 30 minutes. It's bursts an hour. There's a long burst. Where you're focused and getting things done. So that's why this business can be done in short bursts of time, but you've got to schedule it. You've got to be ready for it. And there are going to be times where you schedule that time. That's the point of today, where you're not going to be in this space. You're not going to be excited about it. You're going to be fearful because, I'm not comfortable doing this. I'm not quite sure exactly what to do. But that's how you figure out what to do. Even my clients who I help and I tell them what to do and I help them and guide them with specifically on what to say. And I'm helping them through conversations. It's still nerve-wracking because they've never done it before or they've only done it a little bit. That's where we grow. And this. It's not like, oh, Jeff, this is mind-blowing stuff. But sometimes we need to hear it again and again, over and over again, till it becomes part of our discipline and part of our daily routine. And I'm not going to sit here and claim to be perfect with this stuff. I tell my clients all the time, like, yeah, there are times where I am, there are times where I'm not. But I'm on and more disciplined more often than not, and that's the key. You've got to be on, you've got to be consistent more often than not. And it's not 51%, it's not 60%. Like let's get you past 70%. I'm not even talking 80%, 90% discipline. Like just get you past the 70, 75% consistency. That's good. You think about Hall of Famers in baseball or something like that. It's like 33% batting average. It's like you're in the Hall of Fame. So that's a 33% in most people's book is an F. But you've got to look at what we're doing here. And this is a challenging business that takes time and it develops skill sets that are pushing you in ways that you've most likely never been pushed before, or skill sets you've never really ever utilized or wanted to utilize, like doing a live broadcast like this or presenting or doing a webinar. Oh my God, or asking for business and calling people up. Like, you just want to coach. But these are some of the skill sets that are absolutely unequivocally required for you to be successful. So work at them and don't sell yourself short by distracting yourself and giving up on yourself. That's not going to get you to where you want to go and where you deserve to go. Hopefully this has been helpful for you. If you have any takeaways from this, or just let me know that you're here. If you're watching this live, just throw something in the chat. Jeff, love this. This is great. What did you love about it? Or just like, hey, Jeff, what's up? Just so I know you're here. I'd love to see people that attend the lives. With that being said, we will see you next week. Go out there, get some